Closing arguments tonight a little differently than we normally do because we want to get right into this story because I have so much video and audio to share with you tonight, plus expert analysis. And last night on this program, we talked about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. It was the one-year anniversary of that verdict. And I think we all can agree that the nature of this relationship was extremely toxic, and these two people never should be together ever again. Tonight is a story about another couple with a relationship that was even...
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Matthew and Carlene channel. Today, we're covering a subject that's been hitting everywhere lately. We're covering a subject about an OnlyFans model who turned into a killer by essentially deleting her boyfriend. Now, I can't say for certain if they were married. I don't have that information, but she did delete him. So, let's get into it.
More toxic, more violent, and ended with much more tragedy. One half of the couple dead, the other charged with murder. Tonight, the story of Courtney Clenny and Christian Obumseli. A social media sensation, now a suspected killer. 26-year-old Courtney Taylor Clenny is charged with second-degree murder in the death of her 27-year-old boyfriend, Christian Obumseli.
The chief medical examiner of Miami-Dade County determined that Christian's cause of death was a stab to the chest. Christian was stabbed as the knife punctured the subclavian artery in his right chest.
It all happened following a fight at the couple's luxury apartment in Miami's upscale Edgewater neighborhood. And prosecutors say fights were common in this volatile relationship.
Evidence gathered during the investigation of Christian's death showed that since November of 2020, he and the defendant, Clenny, had been involved in an extremely tempestuous and combative relationship.
The prosecutor's office would later release text messages where Obumseli confronts Clenny for slashing him with a knife more than once. They also released secret audio recordings taken by the victim.
Don't touch me!
What is going on? What are you going to get this mad at me when I'm apologizing to you?
No, Christian.
But you're thinking I'm doing it on purpose.
Drop your attitude. Drop your high pitch.
Okay, I'm not doing it on purpose.
You touched Sahara. You know well the right thing to do is to tell me.
Yes, and I am so sorry.
So shut up and let me slap you.
Officials say their apartment building management received so many complaints about their loud fights, they came close to being evicted. Building cameras captured this fight in February, just weeks before Obumseli was killed. Clenny's attorney notes that the elevator video does not depict the events leading up to the altercation, and in a statement said Obumseli was the abuser, the worst kind of abuser.
Okay, that's a little BS, everybody. Because, yeah, admittedly, I will admit that the attorney is right. The video recording in the elevator does not show anything that transpired before they got in there. However, it clearly shows that the person who struck first was the woman. It clearly is. The woman was the one who is the aggressor. She was the one who attacked the man. Literally.
He would manipulate and abuse Courtney in private when he thought nobody was around. Her attorney claims she was acting in self-defense after Obumseli attacked her. In his statement to Court TV, Frank Prieto states, "It is an absolute injustice to charge a victim of domestic violence and human trafficking with a crime." He went on to say, "We will vigorously defend Courtney and clear her of this unfounded and baseless charge." This body cam footage was taken the day before the stabbing.
right now, like, I have not always been a victim, but like right now, I'm a freaking victim in the situation. I'm scared to go downstairs.
All right, so what do you want to say?
I want to be like, I want to be like exonerated, I guess, of like anything wrong. And I want him, okay, so we start here. I want a restraining order against Christian Ugly.
The OnlyFans star.
Okay, so they're accusing the man of being an abuser and a human trafficker. Oh, and the woman also wants to get exonerated. Yeah, hate to break this to you, madam, but the footage clearly shows that you were the one who initiated the attack. Also, as far as human trafficking goes, well, like I said, I can't really say that you're married. I don't know if they were. I don't have that information. But there are plenty of other legal documents or contracts in both of their names where the woman made perfectly clear she had zero to no intentions of committing to her end of. So, yeah, doesn't matter which way I look at this. If there's anybody who should be accused of human trafficking, it's definitely the OnlyFans model here. Because she's the one who is signing contracts with that man that she has zero to no intentions on ever truly committing to. And let's be honest here, she's asking to be exonerated early on before ever being taken to a court. I'm pretty sure that's a contrite confession or acknowledgement of consciousness of guilt. I'm pretty certain it is.
First rose to fame as a bodybuilder.
My name is Courtney Taylor, and I'm about 8 days out from my first show, the NPC West Coast Classic. And today we're going to hit some back and vice, so let's get started.
She soon became a social media celebrity with some 2 million followers on Instagram, where she frequently posted pictures of the man she's now accused of murdering.
This homicide has gained some notoriety since the defendant, Clenny, is an internet social media personality and influencer under the name of Courtney Taylor.
Now Clenny is finding that her fame has a downside.
Yeah, you should go. Because you just killed your boyfriend. Yeah, you did.
This was a relationship filled with violence. Lots of violence. They're so young, they've got lots of money, but at the root of whatever brought them together was all of this lashing out. And it's hard to understand, right? Unless you're in it. You know that this takes place all the time, but it's hard to understand why. Why would it happen in this relationship? Is it just jealousy? Are there other things going on here? Now, all that will be fleshed out during the course of the trial. But at the heart of this relationship, you wonder, two people found each other, there was some sort of connection for whatever reason, moved from Texas, came to Florida, living in a $12,000 a month apartment, right? Life should be good, but it wasn't. It was filled with violence. And she killed him. That's clear. That is absolutely clear. She killed him, took his life with a knife. Now, she's got a defense, self-defense, other things, but she killed Christian. Undeniable fact in this case. This isn't a whodunit. Not a whodunit. It's what was going on and what caused this and what happened in the moment, what was happening in that relationship. These are all the things we're going to go through this hour. But it was clear from the moment it happened that she is the one who killed him. And she was interviewed and spoke to police. We're going to show you the video. Spoke to police, laid it out. There's a history here as well with a little bit of research. But here's the part that I think frustrated a lot of people. From the time she killed Christian, talked to police and everything else, it was 128 days before she was arrested for it. Again, what domestic violence world do we live where there's violence in the household, someone is stabbed to death, and it takes 128 days to make an arrest? What was going on here? Well, let me show you.
Well, I can tell you what's going on. is the environment that the feminist movement created, known as Believe All Women, despite what the U.S. Constitution says about due process. As for the more complicated stuff of what's going on there, I can't tell you what brought them together, but I can make a well-educated guess of the more complicated stuff, because let's face it, the man was a very successful cryptocurrency trader. He was. The OnlyFans model in question, who deleted him, well, she made her wealth by selling her body online. Yeah. So, as judging by the behavior, it's probably because that selling sex to men, as well as crying victim for the sole purpose of robbing men of their resources, are probably the only two real skills she ever really worked on developing in her life. So it doesn't matter which way I looked at it, without this man, that woman is most likely going to die. Like she will. She will most likely die if she doesn't have access to that man. And judging by how territorial she is, which we'll cover in later, I'm going to go on a limb here and say that deep down, she knows it. She's just not willing to admit it.
That police interview, right? She's interviewed right after this happens. What is she saying here that would prevent an arrest immediately? Let's take a listen.
Like I said, a little bit blur. I was doing laundry and watching a Christina Randall, or listening to a Christina Randall video, and tried to call my mom. She didn't answer the first time. And then he came back with a Subway sandwich. Before he left, he recited exactly what I wanted. And I said, I'll text what I want to you. And he said, I know what you want. I said, no, you don't. He recited it to me before he left. And he got it perfectly right.
Okay.
And then he left. I guess he went to go bike over there. That's just what he said. I don't know if he walked or biked, but he told me he's going to bike personally.
Like a bicycle?
Yeah.
Okay.
He came back. And I said something about, like, oh, are you going to, like, reshare your location with me? Like, did you unshare it? And he said, yeah, I unshared it. And I was like, oh, when did you do that? And he goes, the other day, like, when you were done with me. And I was like, okay, well, fair enough. Like, reshare it. And then he told, they kind of, like, turned into, like, a little, like, argument or something. And then he told me to reshare mine, and I was like, okay, yeah, I will. And then I didn't do it immediately. He asked me about it again. And I don't know what I was thinking, but it just said something about, well, what if I'm somewhere you don't want me to be?
Okay.
Which I wouldn't have been. I love him. But just like, maybe you don't want to know where I am. I guess maybe they'll just like hurt him because he was pressing me. And he ended up pinning me against the wall. And then, I said like choking me on the floor. It's just like, they were looking at my neck and I was like, I'm not saying like choking me like, whatever. But he had my like neck, and this happened twice before, where I couldn't breathe and I was on the floor. Yeah. I could not breathe. And I don't think that he was trying to kill me, but I was scared. And all 3 times I have been scared. So yeah, I'm on the floor in heavy pins and lets me up. I'm on the, get my mom on the phone. And I'm just trying to really remember. Hey, my mom on the phone. And I remember she was standing like against the couch. Like we were obviously it was a big deal at this point. So this happened like over by the door and somehow moved like over into the living room. We were standing by the couch, facing toward the kitchen. I was in the kitchen. And then he just I could see all the whites in his eyes, and he was like coming at me. And so I grabbed one of these knives. My mom got me for Christmas. I grabbed one of them. And I was like, I swear to God. I swear to God. It was just I grab and be like, don't come anywhere closer to me. Because earlier, I couldn't breathe, and it's very scary. And I just think just like this kind of thing where I was saying do you know if he's okay? If he's choking me and he's angry enough, he might this is different, I think. But if he's choking me or pinning me or something and I can't breathe, he might go too long. So I grabbed a knife and I said, don't come anywhere closer to me. I had absolutely no intention of using it. I'm on the phone with my mom, and he's coming at me like he's going to grab either the phone or the knife or something. And so I was just I was like, don't come any closer. Coming at me, and I drew it. And I meant for it to go.
How far away was he?
Well, I was by my fridge, and he was by the edge of one of the chairs of the sofa.
Okay. Comparing to what
10 feet. I'm trying to think in my head.
Okay, guys, before we play more of the video, I want to break a few things down here. Notice how she keeps saying she was nearly choked to death. But her neck, it has revealed no markings at all. None. If she was choked that badly, there would at least be some bruising. There would be. Also, she says she threw the knife at him, and that what caused the killing. A kitchen knife. Let's break that down a bit too. First of all, a kitchen knife can be very sharp, I will admit that. However, anybody who has experience in cooking is going to tell you straight up that a kitchen knife is not designed to be a throwing weapon. Mostly because the weight of the handle of the kitchen knife outweighs the weight of the blade. Like it does. Also, when it comes to... Also, later we'll discover that, hey, the knife penetrated through the man's chest and hit an artery. Yep. Well, here's the thing, everybody. The pecs of a man, these muscles, these are basically a protective layer. That's what they act as. They act as a natural protective armor of vital spots, as well as the breastplate. In order for that blade to penetrate deep enough to get to a vital spot, to get past the pecs, past the breastplate, that woman would have to put in some real serious work into getting that knife real in there. Throwing the kitchen knife at him may cause some bleeding, it may cause a bad cut, but the kitchen knife wouldn't penetrate deep enough to get into a vital spot on that area of the body. Especially when you take a look at the size of the woman's biceps in comparison to the size of the man's pecs. It literally would not have gone deep enough. The woman would have had, in order for that woman to get that knife into that man's chest deep enough to hit something vital, she would have had to be up close and doing some real serious work and then jamming that knife right in him. That's literally what would have had to happen.
I threw it at him, 10 feet away. That was the story. Oh, she's got the story about being a victim there and being choked and all that. I'm sure they're taking that into consideration. I'm just wondering if it was a woman who was stabbed and it was a man who had the knife, would it have taken 128 days to get to the bottom of it? Let me bring a special guest joining me in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The lawyer representing the Obumseli family, Kimberly Wall, joins us. Kimberly, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
The Obumseli family, how have they handled all of this, from the 128 days to where we are now, losing Christian and then waiting for justice?
This has been an extremely difficult process for them. Not only did they have to suffer the most horrific type of loss, but then they did have to almost be re-victimized waiting for justice. Thankfully, the state attorney's office, the police, did the right thing. They arrested her, and she is where she should be right now, behind bars. Society is safer because she is there, and the family is looking forward to the successful prosecution, because what happened to Christian cannot happen to anybody else. And they're just thankful that this process has finally moved forward.
Did they have any idea the level of violence in this relationship and what was happening?
Unfortunately, when you have domestic violence like this, of this nature, it's very common when the male is a victim of domestic violence that the family is not going to know that, because that's what really plays into it. When males are victims of domestic violence, it's not something that they really are, unfortunately, proud of. So it's something that they are going to hide and downplay, because it's not common. If you're a male, you have that kind of, personality that you don't want people to know that this horrific thing is happening. So it did.
Well, yeah, and that's because us men live in a world where no one is going to come to rescue us. But here's the thing. I'm not going to talk about the Males family. I think they've been through enough right now. I really do. Well, let's take a closer look at the theme at the OnlyFans model family. How during the arrest she keeps saying that she keeps constantly calling her mom, her mom, her mom, her mom. But not once during that police interview we ever hear her mention dad. We never hear that. That's very important, because the fact of the matter is, when it comes to this behavior, very often the woman is going to learn this behavior from the mother, like she is. And the reason why is because, hey, this worked for your mom, so why won't it work for you? Well, ladies, the reason why it's not going to work for you is because your mom grew up at a time when men were too afraid to question a woman's position. Those days are officially over. And if we take a really good look at all the video footage we have, that was pretty much what initiated a lot of the fights, which was man questioning woman's position. Literally. It's also what caused fights to escalate, is man just questioning woman's position. It literally is. So, yeah.
Come as a surprise to the family, because Christian had started moving kind of further away from the family as the relationship with Courtney had progressed. And now they understand why, because he was hiding this from them, and they would have tried to put an end to it and stop it. And he unfortunately was just in this kind of endless cycle that he was not able to rid himself of until the worst tragedy that could happen unfortunately occurred.
Did the family...
Okay, that's all I got time for right now, everybody, on this live stream. But there's one thing I would like to say before we end this, is that I strongly believe that the only difference between the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case and this case right here is Johnny Depp gained the courage to put his foot down, walk away, and hold the woman accountable. This guy, on the other hand, he wasn't so lucky. Like I said, there's no doubt in my mind that if he had gained the courage to walk away and leave, he would have been a lot better off and a lot happier. And he obviously he would still be alive. Where the OnlyFans model, well, like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that based on her level of territorialness, she's fully self-aware that without him, she's going to die. Because the only skill she ever learned was A, selling her body online, B, crying victim for the sole purpose of robbing a man of his resources. That's literally all the skills I'm seeing that she learned. Anyways, if you like this content, by all means, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell.